I will spend this time on one commandment in Torah, that of counting the Omer. In next week's study of the 613 commandments, HaShem willing, we will return to the normal format. A positive commandment: count 7 weeks from the day that the Omer was brought to the temple. Sfirat HaOmer is one of those mitzvot that sounds simple, reads awkwardly, and then leaves half the audience wondering why they need a calendar, a blessing, and a minor degree in agricultural archaeology to pull it off. Let me demystify it and make it land more clearly. Vayikra, Leviticus 23:15, tells us to count days and weeks, but doesn't explain why counting itself matters, and most modern Jews aren't standing head high in barley fields anymore, so the meaning gets lost. You shall count for yourselves from the morrow of the rest day, from the day when you bring the Omer of the waving, 7 weeks they shall be complete. Yeah, reading that can seem a bit confusing and find yourself lost in the towering barley field. Let's fix that. Paraphrased and cleaned up, Leviticus 23:15-16 says to start counting the day after the first festival day of Pesach. We are to count 7 complete weeks. That's a total of 49 days. On the 50th day, we are to bring a new offering to HaShem. That's it. No mystical hints, no spiritual TED Talk, just count. Which raises the obvious question: why does HaShem care that we count? Well, there is an agricultural reality to all this, and that is the missing context. This commandment makes perfect sense only if you live in an ancient agrarian society. Pesach is when the barley harvest begins. Shavuot begins the wheat harvest. Barley equals animal fodder, a survival grain, while wheat is for human consumption, a prosperity grain. The Omer is the bridge between subsistence and abundance. So counting the Omer is essentially saying, we have enough to survive, but we're not at fullness yet. This isn't about math. It's about living in the in-between. Here's the key: counting matters. You don't count things that are meaningless. You count what's important. Days until a wedding, days until freedom, days until something changes, and so on. Counting the Omer turns time itself into a mitzvah. It reminds us that each day isn't filler. Each day is a step. Judaism is saying redemption isn't a moment, it's a process. Always remember that from the Exodus onward, Judaism is all about remembrance. Pesach gave us physical freedom, escape from slavery, chaos, miracles, and an adrenaline rush. However, Shavuot gives us Torah, structure, responsibility, and Brit, a covenant. The counting of the Omer says you don't go from slaves to a holy nation overnight. Freedom without discipline is just wandering. I have to be honest here when it comes to this particular mitzvot. Many Jews struggle with it. It basically boils down to 3 big reasons. First, the temple is gone. No barley, no offering, no visual anchor. Secondly, to be truthful, the written Torah doesn't go out of its way to explain it. The text assumes you already live in that world. But most modern-day Jews aren't as familiar with the oral Torah as they should be, where this is hammered out by Chazal in great detail, but little gets filtered down to the everyday Jew. Third, modern life, especially in the 21st century, where everything is just a click away, most of us hate waiting. We want instant meaning, instant downloads, instant holiness. The Omer says, nope, one day at a time. Not very Instagram or TikTok friendly. To try and bring this commandment more palatable, Chazal didn't abandon the mitzvah, they deepened it. They reframed the Omer as ethical refinement, inner preparation, concentrating on fixing what slavery broke. Later traditions mapped the days to midot, traits, but even without Kabbalah, the core idea stands that you count because you are becoming. All this being said, how can I explain this to the average person? I'll give it a shot. Counting the Omer is Judaism's way of saying that freedom is not the finish line. You leave Egypt in a day, but it takes 49 days to become someone worthy of Torah. Or even simpler, the Omer teaches that growth happens day by day, not miracle by miracle. This still matters today. We are permanently in an Omer-like world. We seem to always be between chaos and order, between instinct and discipline, and between freedom and purpose. This commandment forces us to ask, what did I do with today? Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. The Omer isn't confusing. It's uncomfortable. It reminds us that growth takes time, holiness takes work, and redemption is earned, not gifted. And that's a message every generation resists until it desperately needs it. It is my hope that this study of the counting of the Omer has been helpful in giving you some understanding on why HaShem would give such a strange but rewarding mitzvot to us. Until next time, this is Shmuel ben Shlomi wishing you shalom.